Welcome to A Taste of AZ podcast. Before we get into today's episode, we want to announce that A Taste of AZ magazine will be switching to a paid subscription starting on January 1st, 2024. Until then, you can visit us at atasteofaz.com/subscribe and name your price for the entire 2024 magazine year. You'll get 4 issues for whatever price you decide, and they will each arrive at the beginning of the quarter. With that said, don't forget to subscribe to our email newsletter, and let's jump into today's episode.
Brett and Jaren, thanks for having me up to Junipine.
Yeah. Yep.
Again, I'm actually doing something this time instead of just eating and drinking your food.
Well, it was grassroots research last time.
That's right, it was.
Planting the seeds.
That was really cool, though, because what you just talked about, because I've just started to really get into starting to read, Marco Pierre White, his book, where it doesn't get super deep into fine dining, but it skims the surface of just like basically what it is. Mm-hmm. And like the brigade, right? Like the French brigade. Like I always wonder, like, what makes French food so special? Why do people always talk about French chefs and French this? And it's that is that where, I mean, that's where it all started, right?
Right. I mean, they're the first ones that really organized it that way, right? That turned it into, we already had that system running throughout different parts of society, no matter where you were in the world. Yeah. that certain sense of organization and structure, where the French probably will be remembered for putting that kind of system and structure into a kitchen.
Sure.
French food's good because Italians married into the French culture years ago and took all the Italian recipes with them. So you can always remember where my basis was. The French just stole all the Italian food. But as far as you see with, like the traditional modern day brigade system in a kitchen is owed to the French, and organization of recipe books and just how a kitchen's organized in general and how restaurants flow in general is goes back to a lot of that French influence.
Yeah. I couldn't handle it. Like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't. Someone's yelling at me and I'm burning shit. Like I panic, right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a special kind. Both of us have like a strong athletic background. We have a strong outdoor background where this isn't the hardest stuff we've ever done.
Sure.
And those other hard things make this seem a little bit easier, where, thriving in the like that's what high level athletics is, right? Is thriving in chaotic moments and being mentally and physically prepared for it. And if you let your mental guard down, it's not going to go your way. If you let your physical guard down, it's not going to go your way. So I think both of us have, spoken about it, amongst ourselves over the course of time, where we're like, this isn't harder than 2-a-day football practice in August in New Mexico or Phoenix in August. Like, it's not harder than wrestling in college. It just isn't.
Right. Yeah.
It isn't because there's no physical impact anymore. Right? We're not beating on each other while all the chaos is going on. Where that's the little part of it that makes it, I suppose, easier on that basic functioning level is, we're not going to be hurt at the end of the day. We don't have little things.
Sure. Cuts all over your hands, burns on your forearm.
Yeah, someone asked me the other day, the little kid that we were around asked me if I had ever burned myself, and looking at my arms like, well, what do you think all these marks are? I didn't come out this way.
You mean this week? Like these are this week's burns, yeah. So that never ends, and I assume like the burns and the cuts, they're going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Better deal with just.
The fire doesn't get cooler. As we get older, the fires are still just as hot, if not hotter.
That's true.
Knives are just as sharp, if not sharper.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Words of wisdom, Brett Vibber.
Should have found me 20 years ago.
Hey, cheers, guys. You got your beers over here. We don't know what you're drinking.
No, it's David Letterman's drink.
Yeah. We are drinking A Taste of AZ Pilsner. This is a beer that we do with Simple Machine. So, cheers to those guys. Marshall making some great
It's
beer.
a very cool can logo.
Yeah, so that is Luke, my business
all the
partner.
best places to go for mushroom foraging.
That is true. Is that?
I mean, pretty much. Kingman's probably not notorious for it, nor Yuma, but I'm not really sure which either of them are notorious for. Yeah. Anyway.
So Wilcox and Sonoyta area.
Wilcox and Sonoyta area. Yeah, if you're the Huachuca Mountains are here. near Sedona. Tucson has Mount Lemmon. Wilcox, you need to go a little bit north, but the White Mountains start just north of there. Obviously, all through Payson and between Payson and Pine.
Yeah.
In the White Mountains is probably Jaren and my most formidable mushroom
Okay.
and foraging spots in general. If you're in the forest, obviously, we're in Sedona. The rim runs all the way across it. Flagstaff's known for them.
Yeah.
No, it's
You ever-
cool. I've
Forest
been
Lakes?
fascinated by maps for a long time. Forest Lakes.
You go to Forest Lakes?
That's where Elena and I were married.
Oh, no shit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I knew that. My wife has her family has a cabin up there.
Oh yeah,
That's a
so
cool spot.
Forest Lakes would be the closest community to a mushroom spot that we've never told anyone about.
Like one of the secret, like one
Yeah,
of the,
like, well, I'll tell people like, oh yeah, we found a bunch down at West Clear Creek. With a bunch of morels. Go down there, see if you can get them for yourself. This spot near Forest Lakes, no one knows.
No.
I mean, there's probably besides he and I having been there, I can only think of our friend Daniel and Jeff that have been there with us.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
And is it like abundant? Is it like the
Oh,
mother-
yeah. I mean, we've like had to go back to the trucks to get more baskets after filling baskets, leaving them across the. It's like a depression area that that's made in the forest, so it just naturally lends itself to being this perfect mushroom habitat where it's misty and you can feel the humidity down there and whatnot.
Interesting.
And like, we always have people with us, one person or another out foraging, wants to try it, wants to go. I've driven past that spot so many times
Yeah?
with people in my truck. Like, I'm not going to, what if it's full of mushrooms
Yeah,
down there? Then they're going to know.
Oh, yeah.
And it is right off the road. You would just never know it's there.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, once you get, 10 meters off the road, it goes into this huge depression that's about the size of 2 football fields, probably.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's like you can tell there's been bears there that morning, mountain lions through the area. It's a nice little biodiversity.
You got to go in there like rolling under shit and like
I
defending
do know
yourself
that
from.
there's a sweatshirt that I can only wear to that spot because
Oh,
it has so much
there's-
off sprayed in it. Because we went
I
one
remember
time.
that day.
We went one time, and anything that would have been exposed on us when we got back to Cartwright's, we were like swelled up.
No shit.
We've been bit so bad. So the next few times that we went, I'd gone to like Walmart and gotten one of those old zippy hoodies that we all had when we were kids.
Yeah.
And so I could like pull it tight and just my eyes were out and like tie it in front of my mouth and everything's covered head to toe, but I just
Dip it.
Yeah, right.
Pretty close
It
to
was.
it, yeah.
I mean, I remember like it can't be in the house.
Yeah.
It's for one thing only.
That's it. And that's for the secret spot.
Yep.
Yep.
Dang.
But you see, if you're seeing all of that life around, obviously it probably shoos people away, but for us, it's indicators, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're in a spot devoid of any active life, then you're probably not going to find a lot of edible wild food.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just a matter of who gets there first.
Sure.
Yep.
Just a sprint. You and the bobcats.
Us and the
Just-
bobcats and the mosquitoes. Yeah.
It's a race, man. Well, so we are here at Junipine. Very excited to be doing this podcast finally, because it was like I don't know, where are they going to go next type of thing,
Right.
When because you guys have been doing your own thing for a few years,
Yeah.
which I think is cool, dude. Like you've done ran the spectrum,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, fully.
Yeah,
We went from, at one point, we'd gone from doing the suites at F1. We got it, during the pandemic, we got into helping people that needed help. And
Okay.
it mostly turned into mercenary staffing, right?
Yeah.
If you need us, we're available. We can be there within 24 hours. Let us know how many people you need, and we can gather those people up. Because there was cooks and chefs willing to work like that. And like you said, it became a cool thing, but we went from doing the suites, helping a European company that has the suites contract on F1. I went from doing that to shooting the show with Food Network,
that's right. Yeah,
right into us going to Wisconsin to manage the Afghan refugee camp. So
yeah.
I remember being in Wisconsin after a couple of days and just looking back at the last 2 months of like, one, I've been in a different hotel in a different city. We went from San Antonio and Austin to Fort Myers to La Crosse.
La Crosse, yep.
Dang.
To La Crosse, Wisconsin for the winter of 2021. But I just remember sitting there thinking, like, what a fucking whirlwind the last couple of months have been of like of some of the nicest food I've ever made.
Yeah.
And then turn back to serving the most people I've ever served.
Sure.
Yeah.
15,000. I went from like Food Network, right? You're doing this kind of food. You're showing your actual concept off and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so, you're making 3 plates or maybe one for someone to take a fucking picture of later.
Yeah.
But it's the easiest shit ever. I see these people breaking down in these hour-long challenges of, like, you're making 3 goddamn plates of shit that you're supposed to be comfortable making.
Yeah.
And you got to write the recipes and I just saw these people breaking down, and they kept asking me in all the exit interviews of, you seem very calm, and I just wanted to say, like, you don't know what I've fucking seen, man. Like, because like we'd done everything. We were here. We feel spoiled because we don't have to set up the kitchen every day.
Sure.
We just have to do our prep. We don't have to build tables. We don't have to build a fire pit. We don't have to set up stoves. We don't have to haul a smoker in somewhere. We don't have to chop wood for the fucking smoker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and we still end up doing a lot of things like that. But it's just during the pandemic, it was. You often have people say, like, it seemed really cool and, like, a lot of fun. And I would agree with that, but, man, I missed home.
Yeah, sure.
Missed home, missed this. You missed not necessarily foraging, because we were probably foraging more than we ever had.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because we'd get done with a contract or a project and, like,
Go camping
you want to go camping for a couple weeks?
Yeah.
It was just that different kind of work, and parts of it were cool, but other parts, I think, tug at the heartstrings of things started settling down a little bit, and restaurant opportunities and things started kind of coming our way again to a point, like at one point where we had choices, and this was the choice to make.
Yeah. So how do you get picked to like, how do people reach out to you? Hey, can you feed a refugee camp?
I'll throw James Porter right under the bus. He got us sucked into that whole experience. So we've known James for years and years and years, and it ended up being a big network of guys that had fire camp and or disaster relief experience.
Okay.
So we'd known James through fire camp. I was James's sous chef like 20 years ago in Scottsdale, but as of late, in the kind of second part of our careers here, we've done a lot of fire camps with them.
What is a fire camp?
Fire camps where the culinary side of it is they're feeding however many firefighters are there.
Like, are they fighting fire? Like fighting
wildland
wildfires?
firefighters.
Okay, all right,
So Arizona's typically got quite a few going on in the summer times.
Yeah.
We typically ended up on like state level fires that are smaller, maybe like 150 to 300 firefighters on those, and James has a lot of experience and a lot of depth organizing those camps and whatnot, so we'd done a lot of things like that where it was just going to be like, hey, this is going to be similar to that, but we're going to have Army oversight, we're going to be on a military base, and it's not going to be 300 people twice a day or 3 times a day, which is 900 meals a day. Is still pushing it for a few guys in a kitchen in the middle of nowhere, trying to get things together and make sure firefighters are taken care of well. But this is going to be 15,000 meals a day, 5,000 breakfast, 5,000 lunch, 5,000 dinner.
Man.
We'd never been.
Jaren's reliving it right now.
Jaren was there twice as long as I was. Dang. I left that contract in the middle of it to go start another project for our friend in Mammoth in California. So he was there the full 90 days. And just has, that means 3 times as many crazy ass memories.
Sure.
It's hard to explain to anyone.
It really is.
How it got done, but it's also like we'd never been in a military dining facility before.
Okay.
Where it's just very institutional.
Gotcha.
Right? Just tons of steamers, tons of tilt, like where we felt spoiled at Cartwright's to have one tilt skillet. I think there was 4 or 6 in that in that kitchen.
So they were set up.
Right, obviously, because
they're feeding a lot of people.
Military is always feeding people, and I mean, for once in anyone's remembrance, we're not at war right now.
Right.
But they're all like they're set up that's a main.
They don't go home and like lay around and play video games.
Right, it's a main thing in the military as to how do we feed and service all these people that we have every day, no matter where you are. So they were all used to that kind of system or functionality to the whole thing. But I mean, it was unlike anything ever. The biggest, hardest part for chefs that went there to do it, I think, was we weren't allowed to, we weren't allowed to prep for the next meal before so breakfast on Monday had to be done before lunch on Monday could be started. And that means even the food brought into the building. So there's 18 wheelers and coolers all behind the dining facility. You had a team of 4 or 6 forklift guys working at the same time, and they were the ones that pulled everything off the trucks to bring into the dining facility. So you'd just start seeing a mountain of food start coming in. And I mean, you'd
just
have
going every which way, and then
you'd have. Are you just like jaw drop, like what the hell is going on?
With counting the servers, the people up in the food lines that were serving it is a cafeteria style, right?
Yeah.
Counting the people that went and served that during the meal service times, and the cooks in the kitchen, and forklift guys and scullery guys, you had about 75 people, almost 100, maybe 100 people almost working all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
24/7?
Yeah. So when we took over the contract, I worked for 38 straight hours because I'd gotten there. I'd had to go for a meeting there before we took all the staff. And I thought that I was going to get a nap somewhere in between. I had it all planned out in my head, and I got back to the hotel, and they're like, all right, let's gather up all the rest of everyone and get back over there, and let's just get this fucking going. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, 24-hour shift is not, that definitely set the record for most that I've done without sleeping food-wise.
That's incredible. Like, I have a hard time staying up until 9 p.m.
Right. It was just shy of 2 days of straight work. I don't even think many of us, if any of us, left the building even to get a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Just a day and night and a day and a night had come since we'd left that building.
That's nuts. And what about the people? Like, the interacting with the people? Like, we
weren't supposed to.
Like, it was just, so that's got to be an experience in itself.
It was really hard, right? Because for us, a huge reason for going there is you thought that would, like, what if that happened to your country? What if all of a sudden 1 million of us were displaced, 1 million Americans, and we went to a country we have known nothing about except what we read about in the newspaper or see in the news that's filtered into us, so you never know if it's right. The American perception is a stereotype, just like a French perception is a stereotype. We only know what we're given to know until we actually go experience something ourselves, right? Yep. So for us, it was, we don't have any other contracts on the books right now. This could be like the biggest way we've ever been able to give back, welcome these people into our country. They want to come here. They're obviously getting vetted and all that, all those things. But we got, briefed at the beginning of the project of like, you're not to interact to these people. Don't wave at them. Don't talk
Smile.
to them. No. Right. So of course, fucking day one, this guy's got an A6 wrestling shirt on in the line. And I was one of the project supervisors, so I'm everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
So I walked out and I can see these people going through the line, getting all their food, making sure everything's fine. And this kid's got cauliflower ears like I do, and he's wearing an A6 wrestling shirt. And I said, fuck, I'm not supposed to talk to this guy. How do you not talk to this guy? This is the connection that we have. Wrestling's universal. Mathematical's universal. Food's universal. Yeah. We all have that same connection. So I was like, well, there's military, there's armed guards everywhere. Yeah. Yep. And so I'm like, I obviously didn't have headphones on, so I'm like pointing at my ear and like his shirt. Like, the next thing you know, they got someone like, hey, you gotta come talk to the sergeant.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Come on, man. Like, shouldn't we be being nicer to these people? They're fucking terrified of everything they've been through, but they're also terrified now because they're in northern Wisconsin. Yeah. It's winter time.
Yep. Oh, shit, yeah.
And they came from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So, like, shh.
A little humanity.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we thought it was going to be a humanitarian tour.
It was a tour.
It was a tour. Yeah. It was eye-opening, right? But at the end of the day, it was still nice to be able to do your part to help.
Sure. Yeah. So where do you go from that? Like, how, because I'm trying to remember the timeline of, and you started up Wild Arizona Cuisine, right?
Right after we closed Cartwright's.
Okay, so that had been going pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Barely.
Yeah, yeah, right. So there was a point that you were looking in Sedona, right? Cottonwood.
We pretty much had our hearts and minds set on Cottonwood for
downtown Cottonwood, or where at?
Anywhere. We looked at a number of different spots. We came close to a couple of different spots. We wanted to be closer to the wine that we serve, where it's being made, or where those grapes are being grown. We wanted to be closer to where we do a bulk amount of our foraging.
Okay.
We just never really talked or considered Oak Creek.
Yeah.
Because the real estate is different.
Different.
So Cottonwood was probably more in our blue collar budget.
Sure.
If you will. And but then when we ended up lining up with the management company that manages this property, it came to fruition quite quickly. Seemed like a great fit right on the surface. The more we all got to know one another, it seemed like a really great fit. And that was in April of 2022.
Okay.
But we had our books full until August. That's why we came to take the building over in August.
Gotcha.
We had a simple machine pop up.
That's right. The barbecue.
That was the most important one. But
with the Fayuca and the taste of bait, or tap that
emceed the whole thing.
Oh, dude, she was the star of the moment. She did a great job.
But we had a number of projects that we needed to finish, commitments that, weddings, and we staff the Barracuda PGA tournament each summer up in Truckee.
Okay.
So we were already committed to that. That's a huge project. That's another 9 straight days of not really sleeping. But that was the earliest we could get here. I think we both also knew that we wanted to probably take about a 3-week break.
Yeah.
3 weeks. Fucking lazy bastards.
Right. We wanted to take a break. We wanted to see family. That had been different for us. I mean, Jaren can speak to it just as well, but we'd been, a couple decades deep of being in restaurants and missing Thanksgiving and missing kids and spouses and brothers and sisters and moms and dads' birthdays and anniversaries and Christmas and everything. So for us, the pandemic, while challenging and, needing to adapt, we also had some freedoms that we'd never had since we were kids before.
Yeah.
We never had that free. And it happened a number of times during the pandemic of hey, we seriously don't have anything to fucking do for 2 weeks. I assume everyone's good on money based off what we just put ourselves through. Do you guys want to go camping for 2 weeks? We can eat in Pine.
Yeah.
That brewery's in Pine. You always try and find something close to where we're camping or doing something like that to not only just,
pound some beers.
No, I was going to say not just a trendy support local, but because those guys are out there and they deserve the support just the same.
For sure.
A lot of different freedoms that we acquired during the pandemic just because you weren't, you marry yourself to a kitchen, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It just if you're going to do it right, there's one way to do it, and it's to be 150% all in. And we talked about not getting back into restaurants.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because
just kind of doing what you guys were doing.
Yeah, because you'd have fun doing this and fun doing that, and maybe sometimes it'd be a shit project or whatever.
Yeah.
But you made decent money. But at the end of the day, I think just the passion and the heart lies in just this.
Sure.
In just this concept of what we're doing, and it's gained traction quickly, so you feel confident in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like that. Let's take a quick break. We get a message here real quick.
We want to announce that A Taste of AZ magazine will be switching to a paid subscription starting on January 1st, 2024. Until then, you can visit us at atasteofaz.com/subscribe and name your price for the entire 2024 magazine year. You'll get 4 issues for whatever price you decide, and they will each arrive at the beginning of the quarter.
I mean, there are restaurants in Arizona that should have a Michelin star. There's restaurants in Arizona that should probably have 2 Michelin stars.
Who are some of your favorites? Who are some of your...
Christopher,
who are the top?
Christopher should have 2
Christopher
Michelin
Gross?
stars. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. there's probably a couple in Flagstaff that deserve it.
Really? Yeah.
Shift is a very good restaurant. Atria is a very good restaurant.
Yeah.
There's a number in Phoenix that would or should have them. Perception would have one.
That's another one.
There's the Lamwong guys would have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely
Yeah.
deserve a Michelin star.
Their shit is incredible.
And it's and from start to finish, how their story and their service and everything about the people like that, that's who has Michelin stars elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's not always the hoity-toity
High end, yeah, the little precision, like it has to go here exactly.
Yeah.
It has to be this many leaves, it has to be this many petals on there, so
and
like
it's just
more of like food people want to eat, right? Like
right. So it just goes back
least
to like I don't
me.
want to be. I'm not going to pledge myself to a fraternity.
Sure.
I wasn't
Yeah.
in a fraternity in college for a specific reason.
You seem like a frat dude. Though.
Fuck. it's the same reason.
Jaren knows like that's the worst insult you can throw at Brett.
right. It is because our team was our fraternity.
Sure.
Our wrestling team was.
Yeah,
and that's why
yeah.
I love the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? We're here. We're dependent on everyone in this building to make every customer happy.
Yep.
It's got nothing to fucking do with anyone outside of that.
Sure.
The customers that come and want to eat and experience this the way that we've put it together, and the people that are here willing to be our voices,
Yeah.
because we don't leave the kitchen
Yeah.
from 9 in the morning till 10 at night.
Well, that is right. That is the thing. Is like this is something that you got to put the work in, right? Unless you're
yeah.
one of those elite, like maybe what I don't know, 10, 20 in the world that can. There's probably more than that, but you're in the kitchen. Even if you're the name of the place, the face of the place.
But even
like,
those chefs put the work in at some point.
for sure. Yep. Yep.
You're in this day and age, and we've experienced it firsthand with employees, that everyone wants it
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
fucking now.
Yeah.
Fucking now. And I constantly, like maybe it's a compliment, right? Maybe I look very young for my age.
Sure. No, you don't.
I didn't think so. I'm bald. That's why I try and talk. But this has taken our whole lives.
For sure. It's like
get-
that overnight sensation myth.
Yeah,
right?
it just doesn't fucking happen.
Yeah.
I know there's walks of life where it does happen, but it takes a lot of hard work in these old world jobs, I guess, that are left over and transcend time.
Sure.
It takes a long time to build something properly and flawlessly and consistently to attain something. It doesn't just come. It's
Sure.
not.
No.
This isn't YouTube. This isn't Instagram.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it before. Like, you told me one time my Instagram looks so fun. Everything looks so fun. I said, I don't put the
yeah.
bad shit on
For
there. I'll
sure,
take a
yeah.
selfie.
Yeah.
I need to take more selfies of myself crying with all my plants dying.
Yeah.
Or
Shit in your pants in the car on the 17, right?
me in that road, man. I'm looking forward to putting it behind me. I might be a Phoenix native, but I'm looking forward to putting it behind me because we're getting ready to move here.
Are you? Yeah.
And we
Nice,
put a lot
man.
of heart and soul into that property as well. So
Sure,
it's
yeah.
a bittersweet ending, and like because of he was around all the time helping with one thing or another, but no, we started selling off the livestock and
Yeah.
shutting down the planting and the watering and getting ready to head north.
Nice, man. I'm jealous. I
should be.
like it up here.
Yeah, you should be.
I also like I grew up, in small town. I don't know if you knew this, but I grew up in East Palestine, Ohio, where the train, the chemical train
I said,
explosion
why does that
thing.
sound familiar?
Yeah, up in I used to have to say, people were like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, Youngstown, Ohio." And they're like, I'm like, "Oh, between Cleveland and Pittsburgh." Now we can say East Palestine, where the train blew up
You're
chemicals.
famous.
Yeah, the black cloud.
Well, insta famous.
Exactly, which is what I'm going for,
Oh,
right?
I've
So,
noticed.
so you know what? I do want to get your thoughts on that as well, right? Because when I read, and I've got my own opinions on social media and things, but when you see these days people that are putting time, like you have decades of experience and work and all of this to do this, and then you have somebody that's like, oh, I made this smash burger here and I threw on this, and now I'm a chef.
Well, tell him Jaren got a sushi apprentice at Cartwright's a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Oh,
Kid looked good
Yeah.
on whatever paper. Obviously now you can stalk someone, but I'll let Jaren speak his own opinion or experience on it, because Jaren was supposed to train this kid. We have a bit of Japanese experience.
Yeah.
In case no one ever noticed.
Yeah.
Jaren was going to train this kid. He was coming from
What was it?
I didn't want to say the place. A
yeah,
corporate-y
but, yeah.
sushi place, but anyways, I let Jaren.
Yeah, and it was just the first interaction was pretty, just like mind-boggling. Like, I think it was having to teach him how to wash rice, and like he was just like, I've never done that before. And it's like, but you're a sushi chef, like that should be like, would you at least learn whether you're just getting into it at a fast food place or like that, like you should at least learn how to do that.
That's
first.
step one. It's like he puts the glove on the wrong hand.
It literally is step one.
Yeah.
If you're a properly trained sushi guy, it is step one for years.
Yep.
And you assumed like, all right, so you know how to make rice. So and he said, well, I don't.
Yeah. And it was just like, all right, starting from scratch. Okay, then it turned into like he would do it, but he wouldn't. He was more so about getting it done like at a fast, so that way he could go and do like his little plate ups and like take pictures of his plates and send them off on Instagram. And then
I'm gonna send you his Instagram in a little while.
And then
he probably works at a golf course now.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. Then I think it was like the next day or like a couple days later, like after like being over his shoulder, like watching him. Like I know I didn't like that as a cook, but if you're not doing it right, like that's what happens to you. Is like you get babysat and you get told like, I mean, I know when I messed up washing rice, I got like smacked on the fucking forearm by like that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Fucking belittled and not talked to and scowled at for days, if not weeks.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't taking that very seriously. It was just like he was taking offense to that. It's like this is like how like,
he was getting worked up. He wasn't enjoying
Yeah.
like, get off my shoulder, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we'll make it right.
Yeah.
Man.
I think that's like, yeah, once you start doing it right, then I won't have to come over here and like worry about you if you're gonna mess up my rice. So then we had to fillet fish one day, and then he was just like, he busted out his nice little like brand new Deba again. Then it was just, oh yeah. I was like, well, let's fillet this hamachi, which it was already filleted. We just needed to take the rib cage out and then portion it. And I literally watched him, and it was like, stop right there. Like, no. Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah. And so I like show him. I was like, "Have you?" And I asked him like after I took, I was like, "Have you ever filleted fish before?" He was like, "No." "Have you ever like broken down or poured?" He goes, "No, it's always done for me when I get." I'm like, yeah, like, and you talk like in my head. I'm thinking like you talk this big game, like you say you're this good, like you follow these guys, you show me your plates, but in all reality, you're really nobody. Like you're nothing, because in my head, like what I wanted to say, like, well, we'll stand side by side. We'll do this fish. We'll create a dish just off base this product, and then we'll see what happens at the end of it. But that's what happened to me. Like that's how I got belittled as a young chef, as a young cook. And then so I was like, well, I can see that in this day and age, cooks now aren't really taken to that anymore. They don't like being belittled or being like yelled at or scolded.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why it worked out for me or even us is athletics or being brought up in a strict household and being disciplined. Like I was like that.
Yeah.
And so that all played a factor in why that type of training like we were used to, and then like not necessarily carrying it over and training the next round of cooks like that, but maybe improving it in a way that you're not being scolded, you're not being yelled at, but at some point when you're messing up, you're going to get yelled at. And so this is what happened with him. And what was the ending part with him was I was supposed to be working and managing the hotline, and was finally leaving him to wash rice, like get the sushi side ready, and come to find out he had burned the rice already. Didn't wash any more rice, and then once we got really busy, he started handing me scraps of tuna that were supposed to be for one of our dishes, and it was like, I remember going, I was like, what the fuck is this? He goes, oh, you didn't have any more tuna ready for me. I was like, this is your station. Like, I'm not here to do your work. Like,
we hired you to be the head sushi chef so that the sous chef didn't have to be the sous chef and the head sushi chef and the pastry chef.
Yeah.
We're willing to give you some of our that's the thing at the end of the day, too. We're willing to give you some of our money to help us.
For you to do what you do.
Yeah,
he was just like, oh, what was it? What did he say? He goes, oh, well, he said to somebody that he was more famous than us because he had more Instagram followers.
Oh, yeah, of
Someone
course.
It must have been Daniel.
I think so.
Came into the office and just said, yo, Nico said he doesn't have to listen to or doesn't really feel like he needs to listen to you and Jaren or something along those lines. I didn't say quote, but something along, I'm paraphrasing. Something along the lines of those guys own, I have thousands of followers on Instagram, and which sushi guys always do for some reason. It's weird as fuck if you look.
Yeah.
Because their food looks nice. But are you doing that fucking 100 times? Anyways.
Yeah. I knew I was opening up Pandora's box with this question.
He had said, Daniel leaned into my office, right? Well, I feel like I encompass the whole embodiment of a chef, right? I think about the business side of it.
Yeah,
I think about the food side of it. I think about the creative side of it, the sourcing side of it. I've spent a lifetime making friends and relationships with farmers and gardeners and fishermen.
Ranchers, cattle, yeah.
Right, and all of this shit to put it together into a concept, and your fucking punk ass is going to come into my restaurant and say that you don't have to listen to me because you have more followers on Instagram. It was it, right? Yeah. Get the fuck out of my kitchen.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Don't ever fucking come back.
Yeah.
And
just through the grapevine, we heard through some friends down there, he's bounced around from job to job since then, which, I mean, serves him right because, I mean, this is, like we were talking,
you used to get blacklisted if you fucked up at Cartwrights.
Sure, really,
You just couldn't get jobs anymore.
Yeah.
So if you fucked up with Brett and Jaren, why would I hire you?
For sure, yeah.
So it was...
Go make cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Hey, I eat cheeseburgers.
McDonald's pays good.
They do. Stability.
Consistency.
Right? All of it. Have you watched the show The Founder? Or the movie?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
That's a great movie.
The captain of the salmon boat, my first season salmon fishing, sat me down and made me watch it.
Really?
Yeah. When it's in kitchens, you do the same thing. Yep. We've been in some shit stops along the way, right? Where I learned a lot of things. It might have been what I'm not going to do.
Sure.
But I learned a lot. Always, you should learn something.
Absolutely.
In any situation that you're in. So while Ray Kroc sort of seemed like a dick.
Yeah.
He also had some pretty good approaches, good ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And change things. It also teaches you as, being in the footsteps or the shoes of the McDonald's brothers, protect your business.
Sure. Absolutely.
At all costs. I've learned that along the way.
Yeah.
Just the same.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Got fucked over a little bit. Fucked around and found out.
Sure.
Right? So now I know everything about what's going on here. I can tell him everything about what's going on here at any given point in time.
Yeah.
About where money has gone, about what sales have done, about any of those things. It's become harder in a way because it's just the two of us.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's become so much more simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
it really has.
So much more simple where we don't have to manage it.
Sure.
We have to manage ourselves, which means we work a lot, which we always have. Yeah. But it's only us to be dependent on in the kitchen, which in this day and age is sort of a blessing because it's the staff has changed a bit in the industry.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're fleeting at best.
Good staff, you mean? Or just staff in general?
Good kitchen staff. I don't even know if it's necessarily a huge change in the industry. It's probably here more location. Every location I've ever been in across the world where staffing was my responsibility, you have to take a certain approach to it, right? So our head server, Carissa, here, amazing, right? Why? Zero experience serving. Mm-hmm. Tons of experience food running and expediting.
Okay.
Was the valedictorian of her class in high school. Is on track to graduate, I think, in 3 years instead of 4 years with a teaching degree at NAU. She's very organized.
Yeah.
She wants to help people learn. She wants to help teach people.
Yeah.
That's great. I don't really fucking give two shits and a fuck about a server that's got 30 years of experience.
Yeah.
Why aren't you a manager then?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Because the money's better?
Yeah.
Sweet. So you're self-centered on a basis level. This has never been about money for us.
Yeah.
It really hasn't. It can't be.
I know that feeling, man. I know that feeling. But we're getting there, though, right? You're getting there. You put in the work, and now I love to see you guys have this spot. I mean, it's a really big spot. The inside, I wouldn't say it's small, but it doesn't really To me, this outside seating is incredible. Like, this is
great.
and
the majority of the year, you're going to see it full out here. Like yesterday afternoon, it was full out here, and maybe if it's full out here, people sit inside. But I mean, we've only seen the inside really fill up during the winter time when it was covered in snow out here.
Yeah. I think that's when I came up. It was
getting there.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Yeah.
So what is this place? What is Junipine?
The resort side?
Yeah.
It's not traditional hotel resort life. It's all 45 condos, all individually owned. So they make up the property owners or the renters organization rather. So I kind of always equate it to people like they were doing Airbnb before Airbnb, but they're a resort.
Okay.
Gotcha. So it's 45 individual homes that are available for rental all the time.
There's no long-term people in the spots. It's all to rent.
Right. Owners are here sometimes.
Okay.
Using them as their family homes, but not second homes.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
No, it's mostly they've given them up to being rented out, and then the hotel manages the whole thing. So you still have housekeeping. We still do room service, not very much because we like people to come over here, and they typically do. But you still have all those things that happen at a hotel without it being like, you're in room 403. Yeah. That's on the 4th floor. Take the elevator up to the 4th floor.
And I'm going to follow you.
It's to the right. The ice machine's on the left. Like, we're the ice machine. If someone on the property needs ice for their condo, condos all have, like, master suites. Lots of them hot tubs on the patio.
Oh, nice.
Tons of creekside views, all kinds of cool stuff. You know, and that the whole embodiment of it is what made it attractive to come here.
Sure.
There was a couple other well-known hotels in the area that asked us, if we'd be interested in going, but it just didn't seem like the right fit.
Yeah.
You know, we're not hoity-toity guys at the end of the day, and don't really fit into a corporate puzzle piece. So it's just different.
Yeah.
This place ended up being different, and different felt good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. So what do you guys make here? Like, because I've taken a tour through the cooler and just taken pictures. Like, what is this? What the hell is this? What the fuck is that? Right?
Yeah.
And I love it. I love every second of it.
Well, so you missed it week and a half ago. We did have a whole pig in there.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, man.
So now we just have the hams left, but pretty much anything that
we thought a whole pig was going to last longer than a week.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like, so you get a whole pig. You get a whole pig, right? Mm-hmm. And what do you do with it?
We bought it from a girl, 4-H girl down in Camp Verde. We're trying to get, when we did come up here, we brought some of, obviously, like our favorite people.
Sure.
But over the course of time, you're going to feel like I'm reaching a little too far. I'm driving to Phoenix for a goat or a pig or whatever it may be. So we got this pig from a 4-H gal that's graduating high school. She's in our community and whatnot, so we were able to support her while she was able to see her, pride and work and whatnot, go to a restaurant that does something nice with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They butchered the whole thing up.
Yeah, so just broke it down and then all into its primal parts, and then from there, we took off all the grilling pieces, all the pieces that we could use right away.
Okay.
And then obviously we took the bacon, the bellies, and turned those into bacon. And then the next step, after we got through all the grilling pizza, all the fresh grilling pieces, we then turned it into now making fresh meatballs.
Oh, nice.
But like not like your traditional meatballs, like Italian sausage or like right now the trend is the hatch green chili sausage going around. So we basically what we did is we took everything that we foraged for that over the past few years that we've either preserved pickling or dried out and turned into powders, and that's what has gone to the pork meatballs. And also breaking away from tradition of using like eggs and like breadcrumbs as binding agents. Instead we use corn pignole, the toasted corn flour from Ramona Farms, as the binding agent.
Nice. And
it adds like a nice sweeter, more like nutty roasted flavor to it.
Okay, nice.
We figured no one else was seasoning their pork meatballs with pine pollen and chestnut mushroom pollen.
Dude, I was just at
That's how they do it at
Chipotle the
Trader
other
Joe's.
day.
Yeah, right. I saw those at Trader Joe's, you bastard.
Trader Joe's would be the one that have them
No,
too,
I
right?
seriously wouldn't. I went to Trader Joe's the other day.
I love Trader Joe's.
I had only been inside one once. I went. The one in Prescott Valley is quite tiny.
Yeah, they
I'll
are
see it
small.
now.
They
Yeah.
are small.
Okay.
Yeah, you just got to know when to go in. Dude,
We
their
don't even have a
Takis-
grocery store in New River, so I'm always at a different one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you got no grocery store.
No, we got a
You-
pizza place, a dispensary, and 2 bars.
That's true.
Nailed it. Nailed it. So, all right, so what's the regular menu at the table? So, okay, so just to clarify, the resort is Junipine.
Yep.
And then the table is
The
the name of the restaurant
Yep.
at Junipine.
Yep.
Yep.
It's revolved around quite a bit, but some like easy to tell the top seller. The top sellers are pot stickers, whatever we put in them. It's always
Okay.
a different foraged feature.
Okay.
So like now we're back to wild mushrooms, probably till. Well, hopefully you make it as far as you can, right?
Sure.
Use fresh ones, preserve them as you're going throughout the season, and see how far you make it into the winter.
Yeah.
Before spring mushrooms start coming back out. But the pot stickers are back on too. You see, I'm on dad duty as well.
For sure.
Head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Where did that one? Where did that one go?
Where'd she
I
go?
saw
Yeah.
that one go past through the camera and out of my peripheral. So, like right now, wild mushroom pot sticker. Those are on every ticket.
Sure. Okay.
Every ticket. So everything's share plate here, right? We have some big ones, we have some smaller plates, but everything is meant to share. So those were on the original menu. They were gone for winter time. Jaren had some friends growing squash for us, so we kind of worked them into a roasted squash pot sticker. But the top, Jaren goes and picks up trout almost every single day.
And that's right down the street?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 minutes away.
What's it called?
Sedona Rainbow Trout Farm.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's a cool band name right there.
right? Sounds punk rock, right?
Yep.
It's punk rock, isn't it?
It is.
Well, the place is cool too. I mean,
Yeah.
we try and tell people all the time as well, because not only one is it the top selling dish, but it's probably the most iconic for where we're at.
Sure.
There's watercress.
Dude,
There's
absolutely.
watercress from the creek.
Yeah.
Jaren's wild onion chimichurris on top of it. Well, all the wild onions are right here.
That's what you were saying. So if you come to Junipine, pretty much everything on this patio that you see is vegetation is edible.
Yeah, everything on the patio,
Yeah.
but then throughout the property, the original whole plan is like to create a food forest here.
Yeah.
Right. Of where, I mean, even we walked down the other way earlier. There's rosemary bushes. There's apple trees. There's everything we need nearly on this property.
Cows walking around, just getting
deer.
fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer getting fat off our garden.
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
But the trout served with the Ramona Farms tepary beans. So
Yeah.
it's really, for us, it's probably fairly the most iconic dish for us.
Sure.
The trout's from right
I like
here.
that.
The onions are right from here. The beans we have a big story with.
We want to announce that A Taste of AZ magazine will be switching to a paid subscription starting on January 1st, 2024. Until then, you can visit us at atasteofaz.com/subscribe and name your price for the entire 2024 magazine year. You'll get 4 issues for whatever price you decide, and they will each arrive at the beginning of the quarter.
We're talking about the table. So you say the pot stickers are the most popular?
Yeah, I mean, they end up, to me, it's a very simple dish. It's very tasty. It's full of flavor. But I think the trout really is probably iconic.
Yeah, that one is on every ticket. Pretty much.
Every ticket.
Like that like almost like it's a requirement of like, okay, this
Right.
this is-
Yeah.
The servers love it. People see Sedona rainbow trout on the menu,
sure.
so they're drawn to it. Jaren smokes them, gets like a good smoke on them, but
Not overpowering.
yeah.
I mean, so like I said, it becomes kind of like the salmon dish at Cartwright's.
Okay.
Had become like everyone wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to try it. They saw it on
magazine.
USA Today.
Yeah.
They saw it in New York Times. They saw it on PBS. They saw it on the Golf Channel.
Yeah.
Like, I was walking through an airport in Dallas one time, and I looked up, and our salmon dish was on the Golf Channel on
No
the fucking
shit.
TV. I'm like,
Once again, frat bro, like it's calling you, man. Like,
right, yeah.
what else are some of the highlights on the menu here at the table at Junipine?
Probably more the tasting. That's
really been taking off every week now.
Okay, what's
More
that?
and
What do you
more.
mean by that? Like the tasting menu? Like, so what do you?
So, yeah, we offer the a la carte menu, but also we try to push more towards our tasting menu because at least what I try to tell people that I meet up and when they ask about the food is like, well, if you really want a true like one of a kind Arizona dining experience, and that's the route you want to go.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, you can always come back and get the stuff off our a la carte menu, but I think if you want to see more stuff that's like that we don't have like a whole lot of abundance of that we can put on the menu, but we would have to like work extra harder to go out and forage for certain ingredients, and also lots of those ingredients aren't necessarily around a lot of that time. Like when we go out on our days off, and like we've said before, we do enjoy our sleep, but also we try to get stuff that we can get a large amount of, but not as so far as like being like in just one spot, like going and gathering certain like spruce tips right now.
Yeah.
Like trying to get an abundance of spruce tips so that way it can last us all the way, at least hopefully into the next season.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge part of what we use. But it's like when I tell people like if you want like a one of a kind Arizona dining experience, like that's the way you should go, because you're gonna see stuff that you're not necessarily like, or you have seen, but you never been seeing like, oh, like I didn't know I could eat that, or it could, it could be used in that way. And then, or like I think even before when we were getting started, it was like everybody was surprised, like, oh, you can like mushrooms actually grow out here, and it was like, yeah, but I mean you have to go out there and find them, but yes, they are out there.
Yeah.
And it gives a chance to like test and introduce the customer into a new venture into foods that maybe they've never tried before, or have maybe got turned away by it. Maybe it was done wrong, or maybe too much of it was used.
Yeah.
And so, but here, like that's like, because then you actually get to taste stuff like not just from right here on the property. You get to taste ingredients that are found up in the mountains, and also what we find down in the desert. And so you get a taste of like the entire state as a whole, as well as going back and using indigenous ingredients. And so like I bring steamed corn and Navajo tea back from where I'm from, and a couple of other ingredients, and as well as like the tepary beans, another one, the corn pineal. So all these flavors that have existed for quite a while, like, and then reintroducing the to the public is quite mind blowing to see them taste like. I never knew like I could this would. I've had beans before, but I've never tasted beans that have been like they have this much history in them, which a lot of it does. A lot of just food in general has tons of history behind it.
For sure.
And I mean, corn, there's thousands of species of corn, and so that even then going back to tasting corn that's been around for hundreds and thousands of years and being able to reintroduce that to the masses has been quite just mind-boggling, as well as like happy to see that like this is what we've all been striving for. This is it. And so,
and you get that feedback, right? That instant feedback of like looking out there and they're like smiling.
Right. We have a new server, and he came back in the kitchen on Friday night or something. He was like, so literally every table keeps telling me like this is the best thing they've ever had, or they've never had anything quite like that. He's like, do I come back here and tell you that? Like every time it happened, I said, buddy, you don't have that kind of time on your hands. So go ahead. We know it's good. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's confidence in the kitchen, though, right? Like that's what you're. And for the front of the house, I would think that helps so much, right? To know that.
Right. Well, and it's kind of been nice. I think you've seen barriers go away and like changes in the industry over the course of time, where we don't really have a said manager.
Okay.
All the time.
Sure.
Because you were getting to a point of like the cocktails are Jaren and my creation.
Yeah.
Because you can take a traditional cocktail, or you can take a famous cocktail, or something like that. But we're not going to order elderflower syrup from someone. We're
Yeah.
either going to collect the elderflowers from over there and do it, or like we
Find a
have
different-
access to so many things that people don't have. So ocotillo syrup can take the place of something.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Jaren made an ocotillo shrub the other day for a gin that Abel sent up from Mexico.
Nice.
That's made in Mexico City. So the gin's infused with strawberries, rose petals, and lavenders. Jaren made a ocotillo shrub for it and kind of just put it together with some charred local citrus the other day. And
Charred citrus.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was I'm like, what is charred? And then you did that. I'm like, now I know what it is.
I didn't know it was so hard. But it's just that no one else can make that drink.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? No one else can make some of the dishes that we
Yeah.
make.
This is a one, like a one-in-one experience.
Right.
You're not going to experience this anywhere else.
No.
Someone, they might try this. they
People
might do
try,
that.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
a couple last week, we saw 2 cooks that have worked for us in the past. I'm like, hey, that's my old fucking tuna dish.
Yeah.
No, that's literally
Yeah.
my old tuna
Yeah.
dish. Or another one that I don't think really ever did pastries with us, but she must have been watching because her new pastry list is our old one from an old restaurant. From a
How do you
restaurant.
feel
we worked at.
when you see that?
I don't
Like,
give a shit anymore.
yeah. You don't, or you just say you don't?
No, I don't.
Because I feel you really don't.
I was going to say no. I really don't. If I did, I would say I did. I would say I want to punch him in the fucking face. I really don't, because when we got into Japanese cuisine, you had to be shown. Right, there was recipe books, but you had to be shown by someone to make this recipe.
Okay, sure.
The Madagascar prawn, the ebi sauce
Oh.
from the Robata. I went to make it the first time. First of all, there's about 34 ingredients in this goddamn sauce. And you can't make a lot because it doesn't stay that long. But I remember getting through to like the grated ginger or something like that. And one of the guys that had worked it, like it came out, it didn't look right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I followed this recipe to the T.
Yeah.
It looks nothing like it. And one of the Germans came over and he said, "Oh, did you grate the ginger, or did you peel the ginger and then mix it in the Vitamix with the mirin and sake?" And I said, "Well, it doesn't say that anywhere." He says, "You must. Anytime that's in a recipe, it must be done this way."
Wow.
So I had to be shown that.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, along the way, someone stealing Roka's recipe book
Yeah.
in Chicago.
Yeah.
And like, I was all huffy puffy about it. I'm like, what do we do about this? And our boss at the time was like, "Don't you guys remember learning these recipes? You have to be shown how to make Roka recipes.
I like that. Yeah.
Those are the ingredients, but you
Sure.
have to be shown how to make these. Otherwise, it's like, remember when you made the ebi sauce in
Yeah.
Scottsdale?" It's like, yeah, but it was all fucked up, right?
Yeah.
You have to be shown. So same thing. Our recipes are all written down, but like you have to be ready to adjust liquid with a lot
Sure.
of desert ingredients, indigenous or for whatever it may be, like the corn pignole. If you add a quarter of a tablespoon of pignole to a bread recipe, your water's going to be all fucked up, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just is. So you have to have the knowledge and confidence and know-how to adjust that, write the recipe, but you're going to have to be shown.
Sure. Yeah. That kind of keeps the riffraff out a little bit, right?
Yeah,
In a way.
it's just the two of us. So.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of seasonal people that help us with prep. All the servers, it's really like keeping up with the pot stickers.
Right,
To be
okay.
honest,
Yeah.
all the servers know how to make pot stickers.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't know how to make the filling.
Sure.
They don't know how to make the dough for the pot sticker,
But
they
they're-
know how to. Put
You
it
already
in
have
there.
them prepped. Oh, you mean they know how to put it?
Fold
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
That's
Fold
all we
them.
need. Is help
Yeah.
folding. There's no room back through that fucking window to be doing pot sticker prep. They stand over there. If they come back from put an order in, tables already got. Why not? Like, just fold up 3 and cover it.
It's
and-
like
and come
folding.
back.
Or it's like doing silverware, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just part of the
Yeah.
part of your thing.
I love it, man.
But then they're more involved, right?
sure.
They're more involved in the kitchen. Our servers know more about our food, I bet, than a lot of servers know about the food.
Okay. Yeah.
On a intimate level.
Sure.
Not like, this is a ribeye, it's a 12-ounce cut, it's prime beef, but like, no, this is Wagyu from Terra Farm and Manor. It's located outside of Prescott. These chef worked with their chef a long time. They know the whole story.
They need to know.
Right, because then you have a connection. You're trying to get these people as connected as we are.
Sure.
But you only have the opportunity to do it through a plate and your interaction with them. They're not going to go see the farm. They're not going to get on the salmon boat. They're not going to catch all the trout. They're not going to forage all the what. But you can transcend them as close as you possibly can with the right amount of story.
Yeah. And you got it. Yeah, you have and they are your middle person between you and the customer, right? So they're your advocates, right? Like they're the ones. This is, I don't know, dude. Brett fucking pulled this.
Oh, they're crazy. I don't know. They have to have that certain level of confidence, because if you do sit down and look at this menu, it's probably, I assume, looks different.
Sure.
Than other people's menus.
Yeah.
What's Pignol? What's the Tepper?
There's familiar things.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Absolutely. So they have to say, that's going to taste, similar to this, or have you ever had this?
Yeah.
Chefs like to make it with that. And then, like I said, you're drawing them closer and closer and closer as you get along through their dinner.
Yeah. I dig it. And you have your own cocktails and stuff that you...
Yeah.
Are these edible flowers up here? Is that what I'm seeing?
Are
all flowers edible?
All the flowers up here are edible.
Not in the world, though.
Not in the world. No, I was having
I
had the Datura chat with someone once again the other day. That happens every summer.
What is that?
We have a lot of Datura that grows wild through Arizona.
What is that?
It's a highly toxic but hallucinogenic plant.
Oh, really? Okay.
But not one that anyone's really ever used.
Yeah. Not on the good way.
There's some old documentations of some native tribes using it to connect with the spirit world, but not like peyote. It's not
like the PCP of flowers.
Well, it messes up your body temperature, messes up your vision, and sometimes it messes up your body temperature enough that you have permanent damage from it. And there's no dosage. It's hard to know whether this amount will do this to you or this amount will do this to you.
Yeah.
But they grow a spiky little ball.
Okay.
That we call the devil's apple. I always learned that. That's what I've always called it.
Yeah.
But every year about, what are we, June 5th? Within the last 2 weeks, I have people always send me pictures are these wild cucumbers? I think I found wild cucumbers. One time,
down.
3 people in one day sent me not the same picture, but a picture of the same thing. And the last person, I was like, did you eat it? You haven't eaten it, right? No, I didn't eat it. I wanted to check with you. I'm like, we don't have wild cucumbers.
Yeah. That's all you need to know.
That's it,
That's
right?
all you need to know.
Right, we don't have to go any further than that we don't have any wild cucumbers.
Which that's great, because think of the number, if you think of it this way. Those are the people who know to message you, who know who to message. Mm-hmm. What about the other 99.9% who
It's called natural selection, guy.
Natural selection.
Yeah, technology has kept a lot of people alive that wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, absolutely. Some of the questions we get sometimes, I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. I said some questions once in a while, but they're reasonable. They're very reasonable.
Right.
And I err on the side of caution. I'm like, hey, Brett, is this a good mushroom? And then I'm like, I don't hear from him. I got to go. So I
just
go.
Pick it, I told you.
Then you're like, dude, that is the biggest oyster mushroom I've ever
Jerk.
seen. And I know. I'm like, and I didn't feel bad about not eating it either. So
no, that's fine.
I'd rather go on that side.
At least you know
it. The other side.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the table at Junipine.
Yep.
When are you guys open? How do people find you?
We open at 11 o'clock on Wednesday.
Okay.
We don't really have a closing time. It's
okay.
kind of a vibe of the canyon, right?
Yeah.
We'll cook until no one's here anymore.
Nice. Okay.
I think
usually 10, 11 o'clock.
But 10. It's a fairly quiet place. People, typically the people that are up here are getting up early to hike, or they're getting up early to rock climb, or they're getting up early to do something physical, right?
Sure.
We're not in Sedona. We're in Oak Creek Canyon. People are going outside for something. That's why they're here. They're here to do something outside. So it's for us, it's a much earlier night than like a downtown Chicago night.
Sure. I'm sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But typically I'd say we're done cooking by 10 at the latest most nights. But from 11 o'clock to 9 o'clock, typically we're busting at the seams.
Rocking.
Yeah, because you have a
Wednesday
daytime.
through Sunday?
Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Well, dudes, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for sharing beers. And The Junipine, is there a website? The table at Junipine?
You can find the table on Instagram. You can find all the Junipine like resort stuff at their website.
Okay. And what about Wild Arizona Cuisine? Because you guys still are doing some things.
Sometimes
right?
if and when we have time. But the idea I think is that we want people to come to the restaurant. So there's a couple of things along the way that we still do, or still maybe public speaking stuff under Wild, but what we were absorbed here.
Okay.
Right.
This is the spot. This is the home.
Right. We want everyone to know the table. We want everyone to come here, and we can still do catering.
Yeah.
Outside of this property through the restaurant and things like that.
Nice.
I just tell people I hope it's on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Right. Hope.
Yeah.
Required.
For you, I hope.
No, and I would say this last thing is like this is one of the most beautiful spots in Arizona, right? As you're coming, because this is like pretty much the last spot before you start to hit those switchbacks.
Yeah, we're at the very base of the Mogollon Rim.
Yeah, and it's quiet. It's the vegetation is. I mean, we're surrounded by pines, obviously, right?
Yeah,
and
pine and oak.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot. So, nice work, guys. And if you're watching this, make sure that you come up and check this place out. And maybe by the time this gets out, we might have a taste of AZ Pilsner pouring here as well.
There you go.
So, at the very least, get a can of this, and then you know where to pick mushrooms.
Yep.
But text Brett before you
drink a can of this, and then go pick mushrooms. Right.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.